A key component of the modern world economy, the chemical industry delivers products and innovations to enhance everyday life. It is also an industry in transformation, where chemical executives and workers are delivering growth and industry-changing advancements while responding to pressures from investors, regulators, and public opinion. Discover how leading companies are approaching these challenges here on The Chemical Show. Join Victoria Meyer, president of Progressio Global and host of The Chemical Show, as she speaks with executives across the industry and learns how they are leading their companies to grow, transform, and push industry boundaries on all frontiers. Here's your host, Victoria Meyer.
Hi, I'm Victoria Meyer, host of The Chemical Show. Today I'm talking with Michael Suver, the Executive Vice President of Integrity Biochem. Michael's been in the chemical industry for 25 years at a variety of well-known companies and has recently moved over to Integrity Biochem to lead their specialty chemicals division. We're going to have a great conversation today talking about surfactants and sustainability and a wide variety of things. So, Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. Delighted to have you here. So, first of all, tell me a little bit about Integrity Biochem.
Sure.
Relative newcomer, certainly in some of the surfactants places.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, thank you very much for having me on. You and I have become really good friends over the years. Yeah. I value your opinions. You've helped me do some really neat things in the industry, and I appreciate that. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that.
I appreciate that.
Integrity Biochem is a really neat organization. It's about 5 years old. It was started by Jimmy Jett. Jimmy is, if you're in the energy space, is a rock star. And that's all I can say about that. He is extremely well known. His executive team that he put together to start Integrity Biochem are all rock stars. You'll hear me probably talk about most of them today. Again, Jimmy Jett is the CEO. You got Dr. Charlie Landis, which is extremely famous geologist. That's one of his partners, Chris McGann, Bryce Parker. These guys are all extremely well known in the energy space. But Integrity Biochem, again, is about 5 years old. They started making product for the oil and gas sector. But quickly started to morph into more of a specialty chemical company because of their base polymer that they patented years ago. It is a bio-based polymer that they started to realize had extreme flexibility in its makeup. And with Charlie Landis at the helm and his R&D team, they quickly realized that they can make a variety of intermediates and end-use products for not only the oil fields, but other industries. So Integrity Biochem, as it sits today, has three core businesses: the oil and gas industry, the mining industry, which is led by Will Gibbs, and then the special chemical industry. And our special chemical division is starting to move into new markets for Integrity Biochem, but also we make products, intermediates for the oil and gas side and the mining side. So we're a pure play producer. We like to say we're concept to delivery.
Interesting.
Unique for a bio-based company. So most of our products are all going to be tied around that bio-polymer, which is very unique.
Got it. So when we say bio-based, like what's the root of this? That's always, I think, bio goes so broad in terms of what it could be, but where do you guys
it is? And again, you know me, I'm not a chemist. So I play one every once in a while.
Absolutely.
It is the unique thing about this biopolymer is that they figured out a way to not have to ferment in the process. There's no fermentation. It is ordinary vegetation. We're working on our inky name for the personal care. That's going to be, in all intents and purposes, Dextran is going to be our inky name.
Okay.
But it is a pure play biopolymer that's north of 97% renewable carbon, which is a big deal in not only in the spaces that we're going to and starting to play in, but really across the enterprise now in the chemical industry. RCI is a number that folks like a Procter & Gamble or whomever like to know what it is.
Got it.
And all of our products are north of 94%, but most of them I think are north of 97% renewable carbon index.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So sustainability is certainly one of the big trends in the chemical industry, right?
Right.
It's been around for a while. It's certainly growing. When you look at what everybody says the 2021 and onward goals are, it's, a lot of it's around sustainability. So how do you see this in terms of how do you guys participate in that? What's driving this sustainability, and what do you think your unique angles on it are?
Sure. Again, sustainability, as you and I have spoke at length about, has been around, like you said, for a long time. We always have buzzwords out there. I like to call it practicality, being practical. Again, the home, families, individuals in their homes have been practicing sustainability forever. I come from a big Catholic family, and we had hand-me-downs. We shared cars. We had, we made sure on Tuesdays and Thursdays that we had leftovers, whatever that is. That's sustainability, and for companies now, it makes good sense. It makes good financial sense for their shareholders.
Got it.
It makes great sense for their customers and their suppliers. And certainly it makes fantastic sense for where they work and live. And I'm all for, and I think it's great that companies are taking those steps, especially the leaders in the industry, whether it's a Halliburton, whether it's an Evonik or a Procter & Gamble or a Unilever. They're all trying to find ways to be more sustainable in the markets, spaces, the places they live. And I think it's wonderful. And for Integrity Biochem, most of our products are bio-based. So that's our core principle. And it's interesting as we launch these bio-based surfactants, how well received they are, not only in the oil and gas sector, but the ag, the mining, personal care, all the places where surfactants are used. Companies, consumers are looking for more natural ways that their products are made from.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting to me because I think bio-based and green chemistry has been a bit of a holy grail for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the challenges is when you look and you talk about the surfactants industry, the surfactants industry is consuming millions of pounds or tons of chemical raw materials every year. And green chemistry typically does not produce enough, right? So there's a lot of companies that are entering that. It tends to be more specialty driven because of the actual capacities capable. So do you see that changing? Is this going to continue to be kind of a specialty, highly specialty focus, or do you see it getting more mainstream?
Well, so if you think about the surfactant global market, and it's interesting, and you talk to folks that don't know what a surfactant is, and you start to tell them everything that they do daily, the surfactant probably plays a role in the morning you get up to whatever you're doing in the afternoon, to disinfecting your kitchen, whatever. The surfactant is going to be in that product more or less. And I don't know what the number is today. It's $46 billion industry globally. I mean, it is a big market, considering they're small loads, right? They're 2 to 4% loads in the application. And the interesting thing, you must have been eavesdropping on the same conversation I had with Jimmy Jett, who's our CEO, about the idea that they could make a truly bio-based surfactant.
Yeah,
you're right. They've been around. Procter & Gamble invented the APG 20 plus years ago. But the issue, whether it's surfactants or solvents or whatever, when you talk about green, renewable, do they work? That was always the question, and you hear a lot of folks, and again, go back to what I said earlier. We're a concept delivery company. So we conceptualize what we want to do. A customer asks us to look at a certain molecule, or what can we do to help them get to where they want to go. We conceptualize it. We draw it up in our R&D center. We proof concept it. We trial it, and then we go to market with it. That is unusual in the bio-based world. There's always something in that chain, a lot of times, that they outsource. So if you go back to what we were just talking about, in that green chemistry has been around, green surfactants have been around, but there's always been three questions in my mind that I would ask as a consumer or a buyer of these products. Again, does it work, or the perceived bad actors in the formula? And a lot of times the answer is, well, it works as well as the other green chemistries, but you never hear them say, well, absolutely, it works as well as that, whatever that surfactant in our case we're replacing. And we can say it works as well, or in a lot of cases better. And we have proven that for third-party labs. The second question that they ask is, what about price? Can you compete? Because you can be selling the greatest product on the planet to a great formulator, but if they can't formulate with that product and sell to the consumer, whoever else they're selling to, then it doesn't really matter.
Right.
And the last thing is, can you commercialize it and scale it up? That is the big question. And with a lot of times with a fermentation type of product, the cycle times are just too long to be able to make enough product to service the market.
Got it.
Integrity Biochem have taken all three of those into account. And as it sits here today, we can compete. We know our product works very well, and we can make a lot of it.
Yeah.
And those are the questions I asked Jimmy when I was coming on board. And those are the questions that they have not only answered, and I can't really get into some specifics, but we know that those answers have been concepted out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So as a relative newcomer, how do you gain credibility, right? So I think, you've already talked about the challenges of creating a compelling bio-based chemical.
Right.
But then how do you really, as a company, gain credibility and solidify growth for yourself?
Right. And that is a great question. And that is a question that has been asked of me, if not daily, weekly, since I've come on board at Integrity Biochem. Because like I said earlier, if you're out in the oil fields, you know Jimmy Jett, you know Bryce Parker, you certainly know Dr. Charlie Landis. These guys are legends in the spaces. Chris McGann, they all were at some form of places that everybody wanted to work for and with. And you start to migrate out into the personal care space, the household. Folks really don't know who Integrity Biochem is. They may know me or may know my name because I've been around so long, but they certainly don't know Integrity Biochem. So one of my missions was to try to figure out how to best tackle that obstacle or knock that obstacle down. And although I can't really get into specifics right now, over the coming weeks, you'll hear that we have partnered with some folks in that space that have been in those spaces for a long time. They're well liked, well respected, do the right things in the market space that we prefer. And we have partnered with some unique companies out there that are going to help us not only provide great products in those industries, but give us some credibility and then allow us to earn that credibility with the customers and the new suppliers that we have today.
Interesting. So I think we'll be hearing some good some stuff, huh?
Yeah.
some other players in the marketplace that to serve your end uses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Interesting.
Correct.
So
That
you've
they
talked.
found, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. So you've talked a bit about kind of the core of the business, which is, it sounds like primarily oil field chemicals, right? So that's where the business has started, IBC. It's been a really rough year in the oil field chemical space. So maybe I kind of have two questions for you. So tell us maybe a little bit more about, how Integrity Biochem plays in the oil field chemical space, and how have you guys responded to just the dramatic downturn and now maybe upturns in that area?
Well, I was not part of Integrity Biochem when the pandemic hit. They were a customer of ours.
Okay.
And they are Jimmy Jett is so infectious, and he's you just don't ever hear
I
him
hope in a good way.
He is. Yeah. There you go. That's a little play on words. I like that. But he's just one of these guys that says, whatever comes at us, we'll figure out. It's not, and he's like that with suppliers and customers and employees. And it's really neat to be around. And if you've ever been around the opposite end of the spectrum, you know that that's not a great place to be when things aren't humming along.
Yeah.
And for Integrity Biochem, they immediately not only embraced it, but figured out, if you're in the oil fields, you've got to be dependable, reliable, quick on your feet, because you never know what's going to come at you from a Halliburton, for example, whomever. And so that's in their DNA, to be very nimble, agile, whatever it takes, we're going to get it done. And when the pandemic hit, they did the exact same thing. Crude, nobody was leaving their house. So obviously crude tanked.
Yeah.
People weren't going, they weren't out fracking or extracting, crude or natural gas or whatever they were trying to do. And they did not want to, start to downsize. That's just, again, not in his DNA. And so they pivoted and started making these hand sanitizers for all their customers.
Got it.
They made a lot of it. And Johnny Anderson was at the helm, and he did a great job for us. And they sold a lot of hand sanitizers to some well-known folks in the industry and some well-known end-use folks that have stores, for example, and they did a really good job. And I think that's where they figured out that we can do more things. And I think the whole pandemic led Jimmy and his team to say, we've got this base molecule that we're really starting to learn a whole lot about, and it's so flexible and pliable that what else can we do with it? And that they knew they were going to do something,
right.
But I think the whole COVID situation forced their hand a little early. And again, since the pandemic hit, sales have grown. They've added over 30% to the employee base.
That's impressive.
It is, and it's really unique. He's got a great story to tell. He hires the right folks. He lets them do their job. He never asks why. He always asks, why not? And what can I do for you to accomplish the goals you set out? And he's just one of those guys that he doesn't second guess. We make decisions and we move on. And I think that has really helped us during the time of uncertainty, that the personality of Integrity Biochem really started to shine in ways that other companies struggle.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you're right. I think, they say never waste a good crisis. And, when you're going through a crisis, that's when you can become creative and innovative. And I've certainly seen, there's been a lot of small companies that pivoted into hand sanitizer, right? All of a sudden there was this huge need. Everybody was trying to figure out how to make hand sanitizers because when it's an opportunity to, it keeps people busy, fills the lines, et cetera.
Sure.
And then it sounds like, and further pivoting into a more aggressive approach to personal care, et cetera.
Correct.
But you have choices, right? Do you draw down, which is what a lot of companies had to do, right? Dial back, or take it and pivot and figure out how to grow and maximize the opportunity.
Yeah, and it was neat to watch them from afar for a little bit, and then obviously I respected the heck out of IBC, and then when I got involved, it was just really, it really energized me as a person just to watch how they went about things and what the passion that they have, and the really unique thing about these folks is they know that the world of specialty chemicals is a heck of a lot different than oil and gas and mining.
Absolutely.
And not only did they recognize that, they recognized that they needed to go out and get some folks that this is truly what they were going to do. Then let's go get the folks we think we can win with. And I can tell you, there's not a day that goes by that they go, okay, what do you want to do? Where do you want to take? This is your business. Yeah. Tell us. And that's just so refreshing. That doesn't happen a lot.
Well, I would say that's refreshing, and it's also challenging, right? Sometimes when you have a blank piece of paper, is the hardest thing to start with.
It is.
So you
and I've done that once. And
this is your second time doing it. So what do you find is critical? When you're at the front end, starting up a new business, kind of the world is your oyster, so to speak, that you've got this blank page. How do you start framing and deciding where you go? Because it becomes limitless.
It is. And if you don't break it down into small, manageable steps, then you can get overwhelmed and you're spinning your wheels. And we've all been there. Yeah. Personally or professionally, that's all happened to us.
Yeah.
And the good news for me is they had a platform in place that I didn't have to worry about HR or anything like that.
Got it.
All I had to worry about, and they had the chemistry, and the chemistry will stand on its own. All I had to do was start to the folks that came over to help launch these products. And again, we're talking about Eden Surf. That's our personal care and household surfactant line. Then we have TegraSurf, which is our industrial line. We make a lot of TegraSurf right now. It goes into various applications. And we can make up to about 69 different surfactants off of this base molecule. That's the crazy thing.
That's a lot.
You have 2 or 3 Biobased. That's big. And so, and we could probably get into that a little later, but if you can, we had a great platform to start from. They have great people. And with that, it's much easier. And all I did was say, look, it's not better. It's not worse. These markets are just different from the markets you guys have played in. Different lingo, you need different, regulations. You got to have different stuff to go along. You got to remember now we're going to make products that are going to touch skin. And so here's all the stuff that we have to go do before we can sell 1 pound of Eden Surf.
Got it.
And to Jimmy's credit, he said, fantastic. Here's a team. They'll go do it. Here's a regulatory person. Everything about what he does is first class. And so it really has made my job a lot easier. I can focus on finding good partners, talking to the folks that I've known in this industry for a long time. He kind of took that worrisome part off of my plate and allowed me to go do the things that I'm good at.
Got it. So he's got using IBC's already existing infrastructure
Right.
Just adding that business on, which is
Correct.
still a challenge, right? So let's not just.
It is, but they have embraced that challenge,
Yeah.
and I've not seen one day go by that has frustrated them. Not at all. And it's really, it makes it really fun to get up and go to work.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice to see innovation and entrepreneurship in chemicals, right? So
Yes.
that's
Yep.
unique, right? To a large degree. That's awesome. So what else, what else has been going on in maybe IBC in terms of how you guys looking out forward at 21, 22? Obviously, these are pivotal years for growth for you
Sure.
in your business and establishing. So what do you see as your next steps going out to market?
Well, there's going to be a lot of announcements made over the coming weeks and months that kind of show our commitment not only to the chemical, but mining and oil and gas. We're still going to continue to play in that sector. We think with surfactants, surfactants play in all areas of the markets that we play in today and that we're going to play in tomorrow. We think organically we're going to continue to grow. We're also going to grow via acquisition. That is something that our board of directors is very strong and very, very bullish on.
Yeah.
We think we've got a good platform to be able to acquire companies.
Interesting.
And that is something that's exciting as well. So we're always looking out for those companies out there. We've made some small acquisitions over the last 6 months or so. We'll continue to do that where we think the fit and the need is there. We think we can benefit that company as well as us. And so we're extremely bullish on not only our growth, but what we're trying to do. And it is exciting to get into a new market that these guys have never been in. It's really fun the questions that these smart folks ask are it's just, and I can actually answer them, is really fun.
Yeah, that's cool. That is cool.
Yeah.
So how do you know that you're going to be, how do you measure success?
Me personally, or as an organization?
I think for you and for the organization, when are you going to say, yeah, this was a successful venture into this personal care, the chemical space?
Again, going back to when you start a company, launch a new product, go into new markets. I think every day you sit back at the end of the day and say, was it a good day? Was it not a good day? Did we do something we shouldn't have? Should we have done this? I don't like to look backwards. I do think you need to know where you've been in order to figure out where you're going.
Yep.
Because if you're not self-evaluating, then you're going to get ran over.
Yeah.
So for us as a company, we'll have a meeting with a company, and they'll trial our product and they'll be like really excited about it and ask really detailed questions. And we know when they start to get detailed, you're in, and you have the opportunity for them to become a customer. And those happen daily now. And I think for us, being successful, I think is going to change over time. It was launching the product, it was getting the approvals, it was working with if it's the FDA, it's getting the little things like the inky trade name or clean ingredients, all the stuff that we needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And unsure. Our patents say this is really a new molecule, and saying, well, this is what we think, but we're not sure. And it's interesting because this molecule, there's so much to this molecule that we learn about it in different ways. We can manipulate it almost daily or weekly. And so that's a long answer. I think success today is going to probably be a little different than success next year as far as these type of molecules that we're producing.
Yeah.
Personally, I try not to screw up on a daily basis. I think that's successful for me. I try not to get people mad at me. I tend to be honest with folks in our company when I think something needs to change. And again, I'm trying to fit into a already existing company. A lot of these guys have worked together for a lot of years, and here I am coming in and talking about things that they may never have talked about. And how do I tread water? How do I respectfully? There's a lot of smart guys in the
Challenge,
company.
right? I mean,
It
entering a new
really is.
company that's got established relationships and norms and coming in as the
That's
new
right.
guy with a
Here
new
I come in,
challenging.
and it is. And I will tell you, they have made it as smooth a transition
Good.
as I can imagine. And that's a credit to them, first and foremost.
Yeah.
So I get up in the morning and try to be the best that I can be. And some days I am, and some days I'm not.
It
And,
happens to all of us, I think.
and I try not to put back-to-back bad days together.
There you go. That's a win, right?
Yeah.
That's a win. So
Yeah.
so I'm going to turn the tides a little bit here. What do you do for fun, Mike? So when you're not working and trying to get this business launched and off the ground, which I know takes a lot of time, how do you spend your free time?
Well, I have two boys. I have two boys that one's a freshman in college now, and we fight a little bit that he's at school taking online classes, living in a dorm, but it was good for him to get out of the house. We could talk
It's
about.
been an interesting year for
It has been, and I'm
especially for
glad he
college
got to
students.
go. He went his second semester. He spent the first semester here taking online classes, and we decided it was best that he get into a dorm. And so he goes to Ohio University. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. We're based in Crescent. We've got a nice 4-bedroom apartment down there that I can come and go. But and then I have a junior, two boys, and I have a junior in high school. And I used to coach them in every sport they played. Now I sit there and watch. I love to watch my kids do anything, whether it's play the piano or play football or track. I come from a very athletic family, so sports has always been a big thing for me. I'm a golfer. That was my profession before I came into the chemical industry. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah. I played golf in college, and then I wasn't really good enough. Food was important, and you needed money to buy food. So I ended up becoming a club pro, and I really was a teaching pro for most of my career, six plus years, I think, as a member of the.
It's a good skill to have when you come into the chemical industry. Golf is important.
It is. Golf really taught me how to communicate. That's really what it did. When you're teaching a scratch player or somebody that can't get the golf ball airborne, you need to learn how to communicate to that person the way that they can take instruction. And that has really helped me in my professional career. So I owe that to my dad. He wanted us all to play golf as kids. He played baseball professionally for a little while, but he pushed us all, including my sister, into golf. And it has helped us later in life. I collect wine. Been collecting wine since I was about 27. So some time.
Wow.
I enjoy doing that. And I love
enjoy the collecting or the drinking part of it.
Both. Wine is a lot like people. It changes daily. You can open a bottle of wine and then come back 2 years later and open that same vintage, and it's totally different. And so I enjoy that, and I enjoy pairing foods with certain wines. I've always liked that. I love to cook. I feel at home in the kitchen.
Nice.
So if I'm not on the golf course, I'm probably cooking something or watching one of my boys play a sport.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Well, Michael, this has been great. I've really enjoyed talking with you today and learning more about you and about Integrity Biochem, and I know the listeners will as well.
Yeah.
If people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Well, they can always reach out via email. It's msuver@integritybiochem.com. Our website is being transformed as we speak.
Excellent.
That should be up and running here shortly. again, like I said, we've got some major announcements coming out in the marketplace over the coming weeks that's going to make for a wild and fun ride for us. Integrity Biochem is such a great company to be with. And I think over the coming months and weeks and months and years, as we move into these new markets, I think customers and suppliers will see what I saw when I came into Integrity Biochem, about 6 months ago.
Fabulous. Well, I am personally looking forward to seeing what those changes come about and what they bring. So thank you for joining us today, and thank you everyone for listening to The Chemical Show.
Thank you very much.
We've come to the end of today's podcast. We hope you enjoyed your time with us and want to learn more. Simply visit thechemicalshow.com for additional information and helpful resources. Join us again next time here on The Chemical Show with Victoria Meyer.